had $10,000, should you invest it in dividends? Should you invest it in high yield bonds or high yield interest bearing savings accounts? Or should you take 10 grand and buy a $300,000 piece of property? A $300,000 home back when he was buying property was during like a housing crisis or a housing issue during that time. And now if you look at today's market and everything like that, especially where I live, it's booming like crazy. So trying to find a house for $300,000 is pretty difficult. But even on top of that, you have so many new construction places coming up and around that even if you found a piece of property that was decent at a good price or a steal, you'd have to worry about finding quality workers that aren't already working for the major builders to come work for you to renovate your property. So besides all of that, I looked at the $10,000 investment on a piece of property that was $300,000 using an FHA loan. I know that there's two different types of FHA loans. There's a B and a K series. The B series is the one that you would live in and it would be your primary residence. A K series would give you the opportunity to get an additional amount of money for renovations, but you won't get that money up front until after you've completed the renovations and you've had your inspection completed. Or borrow money from another third party to get the repairs done so you can meet the inspection and get that money back. My concern about all that is most of us that either rent an apartment or have a house already, we don't have readily available funds to make an additional monthly payment towards a new mortgage. So let's say that you found a great property, awesome. So you found one for $300,000. Can you afford to pay $1,800 a month? That includes the taxes, the insurance, the HOA fees, if there is any HOA fees, any kind of PMI on a $300,000 house. Can you afford to make that payment every single month while you're waiting for your first renovation to be completed or for your first tenant to move in? How long can you sustain giving up 10 grand and you have no savings beyond that to float you those payments? So I would venture to say you probably would want the 10 grand for the down payment and have an additional like $20,000 sitting on the side to make those monthly payments just to float you. So you need about $30,000 to do that investment, just in case it takes you 3 months or 4 months to rent out the house. There is the possibility of you being able to flip it fairly quick, but then there's also the possibility of you hiring contractors that don't know what the hell they're doing and they end up taking months. It's just something to consider. For me, it's not an idea that I want to pursue. I want something that's super passive in thought and can be passive in income later. I'm not looking for income now. I'm just looking for something that I can invest now so that later on, once those dividends and the interest and all that stuff that I'm investing in reaches a threshold where I can hit that bell and say, I'm out, I'm retiring, and I cut off the active income and go to passive income, then I just go straight to that and not have to worry about much. And in order for me to get to that level, I have to meet what I'm making now before taxes. So if I can meet what I'm making now before taxes in my investment, that's when I definitely hit the button, because I will always look at whatever my interest is, whatever my balance is for dividends and stuff like that. For me, I would have to at least have double what my salary is. So let's say hypothetically that I make $5,000 a month before taxes, and my investments are at $5,000 a month in interest or dividends that are paid to me every month. Is it worth it for me to retire? No, in my opinion, it's not. I would think that I would need to have at least $10,000 a month in interest and dividends combined before I would even consider hitting the retire button and quitting. Why? Because at least half of that is going to be taxes, plus I want the other half, that other $5,000, to keep growing. I want the account to keep growing, to take in consideration of depressions or any kind of issues that might happen with a bank account, or a stock goes under, or anything can happen, right? So maybe I get sick and I need extra money. I have the extra money there. I looked at the same ROI, the same 10 grand. If you took the same $10,000 that if you would have bought real estate with And let's say you had all your ducks in a row. You had a contractor lined up that was a handyman that could do everything, and it was your kid brother or something, and you had free time, plenty of time for yourself, and you were also a handyman, or your spouse was a handy person, and y'all could just go in together. You have nothing else to do. Let's renovate this house. Let's paint some walls. Let's put in some cabinets and replace some faucets and whatever. Do some roofing. You bust your butt and get everything done in like 3 months. That's great. But most of us working folks, we ain't got that kind of time. I work 40 hours a week on the minimum, and I'm on call. I travel a lot, and a lot of people that I know that are minimum wage ain't got time to do anything. They work harder than I do, and they don't have time to sit down and scratch their nose. Real estate, yeah, that's fine. That's not for everybody, but for me, I don't have time for that stuff. And for me, it seems to be better and wiser and easier to just go click and pay. Done. I don't have to go to any kind of title office. I don't have to go visit properties. I don't have to worry about courts or anything. I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. It's just like extra work. You just gotta have a ton of free time to buy real estate, to sell real estate, to renovate real estate, to find an agency that handles tenants and stuff like that, and then you got to pay them fees too. I don't want to give up any more money. And then the rent side of things. What happens if the renter doesn't pay their rent? What happens if they try to sue you because, I don't know, someone falls through the ceiling because they're climbing through the attic? I don't know. Anything. Maybe they put a Christmas tree up one year and it burned the whole house down. What happens then? You see what I'm saying? So there's too much worry, too many variables, and too many stupid people, to be honest with you. And everybody knows people are just straight dumb. I don't trust people in general. So that's why I don't do real estate. Now, if I had nothing but free time, and tons of patience and the willing and ability to travel everywhere and deal with all of that stuff, the title companies, the background checks, the payment processing and all that, then sure, okay, I'll sign up and do the real estate stuff. Sounds like it's a great plan. Like, you can get real estate passive income just renting out a piece of property, or you can sell it later, or you could write it off as a depreciated value or a depreciated asset. That's just my opinion, and all this is just my opinion. So I am not a financial advisor at all, and that's going to remain that way for a long time. If I ever get to that point to where I decide I want to become a certified financial advisor, then sure, I'll upgrade and update my information, update it with you all. That's my 2 cents. Thank you for listening to me. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, or you guys think I'm way off my rocker, I'm open to hear anything that you guys got to say. I try to get in the chats. I know that there's a lot of bots that try to pose as me, but just know that the only people that I actually give advice to is my son. So I'm not giving advice to anybody. I'm not sharing phone numbers with anybody. I'm not giving out any kind of special links or anything like that. So if those comments are in there, just ignore that stuff or report it as spam. So if anything that comes from me, I will post as like, hey, how's it going? Or thanks for stopping by. That's pretty much all I'm going to say because of the amount of spam. There's so much spam on YouTube. It's crazy. So don't trust any of these links. Don't trust any phone numbers because I'm not going to be giving you any phone numbers. I don't know any brokerage firms except for what I'm telling you. And those links are going to be in the description of the video. So all those links are down below. Okay? Bye.